Hello and welcome to Mike's Likes number 3. And we're going to do our own version of pasta. I looked at a couple recipes, wasn't impressed, but a guy from Italy, from Mastaloni's, told me there's a new pasta that I must try. And it has porcini mushrooms in it. And it's also almost the whole wheat, and the pasta also have eggs. It's a tagliatelle, and he told me how he prepares it. He likes it with cream and mushrooms in the cream with garlic. And now for the vegetables, I just went with what I'm in the mood with. Mushrooms, I don't know. I can eat them. I'm not a super fan, but I'm liking them a little bit better. So we actually, I think, are going a little light on the mushrooms. And we also have our fresh onion that's grown from George's farm market, as well fresh garlic. And zoom out, we got a zucchini, and it's just something I was in the mood for. And I'm thinking a nice contrast would be a nice Maryland grown tomato that I filched from the neighbor's garden. Now he cans them, and I'm very respectful, so I'll tell him I took it later, and I'm sure that's fine. And we're also going to add some parsley for more for color. Maybe every recipe has used Italian parsley, but I am very partial to curly parsley, and that is just, I like it better texture, better taste. It's just something my grandmother insisted on. And just with trying, nothing against Italian parsley, but to me curly is a better choice. And then the other thing that's going to go into it once again is our organic guanciale, and it's essentially an Italian bacon. It's cured with some spices, but it's a lot drier, so it cooks up really fast. Then we got our sauce, and it's going to be heavy whipping cream. I plan to use the pasta and the water to thicken it. And also we're adding Asiago imported cheese. So that's $14.99 a pound, but we only got a small amount. I told them I only got $10 to spend on the cheeses today, and I didn't want to go with the heavier cheeses. I pretty much want the vegetables to carry it over, and then they're like, don't try to melt it, but instead of the Parmesan or Parmigiano Romano, we're going with ricotta salata, and it's basically salted ricotta cheese, and it's not as soft as regular ricotta. And I had taste, and I think they're both going to work out fine. It'll add a nice flavor without being too overpowering. We're using butter, and this is the brand of olive oil. It's DOP. Oh, it is Rance. And it's kind of one of my favorites. It has a nice character. And then our usual salt and pepper. And outside of that, I thought about adding bait, and I just basil or oregano, and it's just something I didn't want to take in that direction. Okay, we are starting the water for the pasta, and I basically, the wok works best. I don't have a full pan set here, they'd kill me. And starting to come up to a boil when it gets to a rolling boil. Now salt, the saying is like the sea, like the sea. And I feel personally that ruins the pasta. And what I prefer is I added about 2 tablespoons of salt, but we have MSG. Uh-oh, I said the dirty word. But I find that adding like a teaspoon of MSG, which is really not that much, really brings out the flavor of the pasta without it being overly salted. It just brings up other characteristics of the wheat. As soon as this boils in a minute, we'll start our pasta. Now the trick is going to be, they don't give any times, they just say until al dente. And to me, when I get al dente, it's too chewy, and I don't really care for it. So I'm not going to make it soft. I prefer my pasta soft. Oh, I know. That's why they got confessionals. But I'm going to cook it until I feel it's going to harden, but will go to soft, or the texture I prefer. And then it'll get cooked when we in the sauce. This is probably not a boil to most people's liking, but as soon as it goes to a rolling boil, and the problem is with the size of the pot, we're going to just let it go naturally, and it only takes a couple minutes before it's enough to bend and get it completely in the pan. And I prefer not to break it up. I have a feeling this is going to cook fast. So that's it. I'll let you know when it's done. Okay, here it is. The pasta is completed. It only cooked in 6 minutes. And with the other pastas, the average is 12. And I got it. It still has a nice tooth to it. And all I did was pluck it out of the water, let it drain to that extent. I didn't wash it. And then I put some olive oil, and I'll put a lid on it so that it cools down less. And I'm very impressed with the pasta, not being a mushroom fan. The mushroom with the meat and the olive oil just, in my opinion, brings it all to perfection. And now we're on to the veggies. Okay, now with the zucchini, I've decided to slice it first. And I went with a mixture of salt, pepper, and flour. I could have brought it with me, and it's used in a lot of in the Italian white sauces, but I'm thinking more or less naturally, letting it thicken, and also to go with the cornstarch because I want less flour flavor. And eventually these will be diced. Not every inch of it needs to be, every millimeter of it needs to be browned. but I wanted some browning as it adds to the overall flavor, and I believe in the end texture. And I'm also hoping that the cornstarch I use will also be a good thickener. And once again, the guanciale will be sliced into strips, or maybe even smaller cubes, and finished off with the vegetables. Here's what I call the first burn, and very happy with how the zucchini turned out. I'm not necessarily worried if it's done, although it looks done. I'm not going to sacrifice because it's going to finish cooking with the rest of the vegetables. And I got the first fry on the guanciale. And we've got the other vegetables prepped as well. Okay, and now we have our game plan. We're going to start frying. Now, that is one mushroom that's cut up coarsely. And we're going to fry that along with the onion until it's clear and starting to cook slightly. And I decided to add celery. It's about 3/4 of a stalk. It's a small stalk. And we're putting in 4 cloves of garlic. The garlic's going to also help flavor the mushrooms, so I was only going to do 2, but the cloves are small. I was going to go 3 and I upped it to 4. I still want to keep that flavor subtle. And once that's done, we give the final fry to the guanciale. Then we put in both the zucchini. That's overcooked. I don't care if it dissolves. Enough will remain for texture. But the smaller mushroom will take less. And then we, next step is we add in, the next step is we add in our tagliatelle, and that tastes phenomenal. Then we start making our sauce. So we're going for the heavy whipping cream and the Asiago cheese. And once that's combined, then we add in, then we top it off with the salted, the ricotta salsa cheese. And then we're going to grate a little bit of fresh mushroom. I generally don't care for fresh mushrooms, but the 3-part adding the mushrooms, it does do something. It does add to the flavor, and it's really not that much to where I'd be turned off. So that gets grated in the end. We're all ready to go now. Now the guanciale is added and mixed in. Followed by the zucchini and mushrooms. I decided to add in the parsley now. And finally, the next time you see it, the pasta will be in. And now it's time for cream. I went about with 1.5 cups. And the other thing is I'm going to put about 1/4 cup of the noodle water. It's not going to be used too much for thickening because there's not really, doesn't seem to be all that much flour or starch in it, but the flavor is incredible. It's also going to be used for the salt. In the future, I'm not going to use table salt, but I'll have kosher salt here and hopefully some of my ancient sea salt. Plus the cheese also goes in. I am very happy how this turned out, and I don't think I'm going to cook it down much more. I don't mind a little bit of a sloppy sauce, but I'm just keeping it moving and going for the pool. So we're almost there. It'll be a couple minutes and I'll show you how it finally looks plated with the topping cheese and mushroom on top. Also reduce the temperature, and I'll probably reduce it down one more, but I do not have a scorching problem with this pan, and it's MSMK. I guess it's expensive, but when you spend $40 on a pan, put it on the first time, and even though it's induction, the entire thing warps to the point your food's ruined. Then it's not that great. I was thinking of putting another tablespoon of butter. I decided against that. And this right now has a very mushroomy taste. Yet at the same time, while I'm not really a mushroom fan, it just, I don't know, there's another component, but these mushrooms have cooked down, blended, and I am very happy with this. Okay, that's done. I'll join up in just a minute. I am extremely happy on how this turned out. The cheese stayed on the noodles. The sauce stayed on the noodles and also pulled the vegetables up. So I feel I created the perfect mixture. And now for the taste test and review. Wow, I am very happy. Seemed like everything blended in. There was some type of mushroom noodle, and I don't remember, it's some sort of TV dinner. I didn't know it had mushrooms, so I thought it tasted great. If I had found out it had mushrooms, I would have taken one bite and pretend to die, act like an idiot. But this is very good. Ciao. Oh, before I leave, it's a very rich, very hearty, very flavorful, yet at the same time, everything's working together. The main flavor is mushrooms, and you get a nice creaminess. And very happy the way things combine. Okay, well, I'm going to leave. Take care and God bless.